Hey Steffi,
Yes, Drus. How do you
I want to shoot Q&A with you.
Now?
Right here, right now.
Okay, I'll play with you, but if we're doing this, I want wide angle, I want black borders, all the cinematic experience.
As you wish, kind sir. Let's start with the basics.
What do you want to know?
Tell me something about yourself.
Okay, my name is Stefan. I'm 25 years old and I'm a student at Maritime Faculty in Kotor, Montenegro. I'm also an intern here at PopArt Studio. My favorite song is Stan by Eminem. And I honestly do think that anime is the ultimate art form. Stunning visuals, great soundtrack, captivating stories. I mean, what else do you need from the thing called art? I also like playing video games. Some might say it's my hobby, so...
So, what it's like to be an intern here at the PopArt Studio?
Ooh, that's a tough question to answer. I'll do my best to answer it, but in order to do that I have to expand a little bit. So, it was a cold winter of February 2020. I received a phone call, and back at the time I did not recognize the number because I didn't have the number. I decided to answer it, and it turned out it was Dan, the founder of this great establishment. He told me that him and his team were impressed by my presentation, and he asked me if I'm free to drop by the offices because he's in a position to mentor somebody, and if I would be interested in an internship and a possible job. He thinks I have a capability, I could become a great marketer, so that's what I did. I came by the offices and the rest is history.
Wait a minute, what presentation?
I see you want the whole story, huh? Don't you? Okay, so let's go back a little bit more into the past. The first time I heard about pop art was actually it was in the late 2013. I remember my mom coming home and telling me, she got a new job, and when I asked her what's the new job about, she told me she's being hired by the agency that does digital marketing, web design, web development, all those things regarding internet and marketing and presentation. And so, as a kid I was very fascinated by internet. I never understood how the website is created, and so it kind of piqued my interest, and I was very happy about my mom because she was happy about it. So when the offer from Dan came, I had no other choice but to accept it.
But the presentation, Stefan, the presentation.
I see. The presentation. Well, since I was a big fan of pop art, and I've been following the company for a very, very long time. I mean, I've had the opportunity to watch pop art grow from behind the scenes. I mean, back when pop art was in Dan's apartment, and throughout the time it grew to a leader in its field in Serbia, and then today where pop art is company that's recognized worldwide. So since I was a fan of a company, I always wanted to contribute, I always wanted to help, I always wanted to do something about it. And one day I did a research, and while conducting the research I figured out that PopArt Studio doesn't have a lot of video on demand content. They're not as active on social media as they could be because what they do, they have a lot of content that they can put out. And so one day I brought it up with my mom, and she told me that it's not her part of the job, and she will talk to the boss and and stuff. And I don't know how, but several days after that I found myself in an office with a couple of people presenting what I made. Actually, I made a presentation. That presentation. And I mean, it was a corny presentation. I pulled out the number of followers they have on social media. I pulled out the stats from the YouTube, and how most millennials, Generation Z, they prefer to watch video than to read a blog, and a typical statistics that I found out then and there, that they actually knew that, and that they have been working on it for months, to try and expand their content. And so yeah, that's the presentation.
Why did you decide to switch careers?
Well, when you think about a captain that's in charge of a 400-meter long vessel somewhere in the sea, traveling across the world, you think about white suit and glamour and travel, but the harsh reality that most of the time you work long hours, you have to spend so much time away from home, sometimes between 3 and 9 months a year. So I'm the kind of person that one day I'm hoping to have a family of my own, and I know that if I choose that career, I had doubts for a while, but when this offer came, I looked a little bit into it, and the more I read, the more I tried to find out everything there is about the IT sector and digital marketing and the whole industry. The more I was fascinated about it, and the more I wanted to devote myself studying, learning. And
what happened after you accepted the offer?
Let me ask you, what do you think happens after you accept an offer for a job that you're not educated for?
You get educated?
You damn right get educated, and educated I got. Day after day, night after night, from February to May, I studied every day. HTML, CSS, theory of SEO, PPC, Google Ads, everything regarding digital marketing I could find and I could get my hands on. I read and I studied really hard for it. So tell me, do you know what's heading hierarchy?
No.
Neither did I, but I learned. It's a way in which you structure or you give priority to the content on your website. Do you know what are meta descriptions?
No.
Well, neither did I, but as I said, I learned.
What was the hardest thing that you encountered in your education?
Well, studying, reading, the actual process of learning wasn't necessarily that hard, because I had my mentor who was there with me step by step. He told me where I should start, which process I should take, and he took me all the way from the beginning to the end. I guess the hardest thing I had to do while going to the process of education was actually facing the reality of how everything is complicated, intertwined together, how much I don't know or didn't know at the time. So that was that was definitely the hardest thing I had to.
So could you answer me the question I asked you a while ago?
Yeah, so you asked me what's it like to be intern here?
Yes.
It's hard. It's hard because, the tempo of work is very fast, I guess. But, when I think about my colleagues, we work as a team here. My colleagues are great people, experts in their fields, with years of experience behind them. They learn from each other and work with one another. So it's not that hard because, the team is so great that the only thing that you can do is learn and develop, and it's actually a privilege being here.
What are your plans for the future? What are you hoping to get from this all?
Plans for the future, eh? Let me see. I know. I get it's a bit corny, but it's true. I want to develop, I want to grow, I want to become better at what I do. I mean, digital marketing is something that it gives you a chance to help businesses and people grow. I mean, to help them grow in a meaningful way, and to also have a chance to grow myself in the process.
Is that all?
Yeah. I mean, there is also this one other thing that I want.
Tell me.
Give me a second. I'll be back in a second. Stay there. Don't move. I'm very fast. Am I not? I want one of these. I mean, not one of these. I want one with my name on it.
A business card?
Well, it's not just a piece of paper. Here, when you get one of these suckers, they mean something, It means you put in the effort, you've contributed. I mean, you've done something important. So I guess